It is now my honor to introduce David Barnes from NCTM. Take it away, Dave.
All right, good morning. So, you know what? This is one of my favorite weeks of the year because I come here and I meet people that I don't meet anywhere else. I have conversations that I have other places. But I want to tell you that the first time I came here was only 3 years ago. And when I came, I knew one person. And now I feel like I come and I see family and friends and I make new friends. So one of the things I want to do is encourage you to bring people back because you have new and different conversations every year. And since we're friends, I also want to invite you to a birthday party because NCTM turns 100 years old next year in 2020 in Chicago, and we are going to have a great celebration celebrating mathematics, mathematics teaching, mathematics learning. So come to do that. All right, they told me I only have 25 minutes, so I need to get moving. So principle one was what we started with, day one. It was about learning each individual discipline. And my pitch is about NCTM, and we've actually been working on standards and teaching for the better part of the last 40 years and doing that through a whole range of documents. And the reality is we've made a lot of difference. If you look at the NAEP trends, mathematics is by far the champion for gains at the elementary and middle school. It's not for every kid, and it's not enough, but we're making progress, and we need to make more progress. But one of the challenges is when we think about mathematics is I think we see classrooms that look like this, right? I hear some chuckles out there. That's pretty good. You know, and there's sort of the standard math class. And the challenge that we have is that when you walk into a lot of math classes today, you see something that could be the same as it was 40 years ago. It's homework review, and then, well, the three parts of a math class. You know what those are? That's I do, we do, you do. The teacher shows them what to do, they do a few problems together, and then she assigns them homework to do themselves. And the person that does the most talking in the classroom is the teacher. And we know that that's not good enough. We know that we need to work with kids and have critical discussions, productive struggle, kids talking about their thinking and the thinking of others, so that they can have those moments to connect the mathematics, to have the joy of saying, I figured this out. You know, for math teachers around here, you might, I ask them, do you ever have kids that come up and say, is this right? And the reality is that too often that's the case, that they don't know whether it's right or wrong, they just need you to check. But what we need our kids to come in and know that it's right and say, I got it right, and this is the way I think. The second principle that we talked about was about connections. And you can't be up here without a NASA photo, okay? So anyone know what this one is? This is Apollo 13. This is where the side of the module broke off as they were headed to the moon, and they had to work together. You might have seen the movie. Part of my favorite piece is this, where they're running in, and it's not that they're running out of oxygen, but the carbon dioxide is building up, and they have all these tools and a group of people there saying, we need to figure it out. This is the integrated piece, putting our ideas together. And I think in education, and this is one of my favorite scenes from the movie, because the people would be on the right are talking, and they say, this could be the worst disaster and NASA ever experienced. And Gene Kranz, who's on the left, stops them and says, with all due respect, sir, I believe this is going to be our finest hour. And what you need to know is, in education, with us working together, we have lots of challenges, but we know how to do this. This can be our finest hour. Lastly, the third principle about STEM education serves as careers. And with that, I see that as increasing students' opportunities. Here's the challenge, that when you look at the NAEP lines for high school, that's the same graph as before over the same period. It's flat. We haven't gotten better in helping kids. And the challenge we have now, too, is that when we look at college readiness, 60% of the students leave high school not really ready for college. And with this, we need to think that there is an implementation gap. It's what David Evans said. It's not so much that we need to build more things. We know what we need to do, but we need to do better in implementing it. And as we think about those things, and about teachers, oh, I can see this slide's not going to work. It isn't about telling students what they can't do, but helping them work to get what they might be able to do. We don't know where they could go, but we need to help them to get where they're going. So one of the things with that is, can you see the words at the top, or are they cut off? Okay, it says, I'm not good at math. Okay? And one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do is never say, I'm not good in math. Oh, let me see if that's going to work. What I'd like you to say is, I value math. Could we say that? I value math. All right? And sometimes it's really challenging, but it's so important in understanding and increasing our opportunities. So if you ever hear somebody who says, I'm not good at math, you need to stop them and say, listen, it would really be much better if you say, I value math. But I struggle with it sometimes to do that, right? So it's one of the things, because that's about identity. Chip, who talked the first day, talked about the highs that we give, but I think their teachers also give the lows. Kids learn that somebody says, oh, I'm not good at that. And I think that's important that we can do. All right. The last piece along this idea is that oftentimes there's a large group of kids that don't have opportunities for success. And as leaders, there's a really sad truth that mathematics reinforces inequities. Okay? That's not just in the US, but worldwide, mathematics education reinforces inequities. So structurally, we need to work to change what that looks like. I'm going to give you one last idea to think about, and that's about tracking. Student tracking and teacher tracking. Are there ways that we can restructure our programs so that students get the same quality instruction? And the reality is that we also track teachers. Our best teachers are often with who? Our best students, right? It's not like in medicine where our best doctors are working on our patients that have the worst cases, right? So we need students with the highest need to be coupled with teachers with the most experience, you know? So this is my last slide. It is this room, it is the people, it is leaders like you in this room that inspire me to say we can make this happen. Because there's never a doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed educators like yourselves can change the world. Because that's the only thing that ever has. Listen, have a great day. Thank you very much.